4 years ago, almost to the day, a fresh-faced, masked-up version of me made a pilgrimage to the University of York. That's the same place that brought you A Tall Duck and Tom Scott, ready to finally pursue my dream of studying music and sound recording. Bah, Hans. In the years that followed, I'd learn a few of the things that I expected to learn, and a great deal more things that I didn't expect to learn. I would make some beautiful memories, excellent friends, so on, and ultimately I would end up coming out with a first, before being thoroughly humbled and becoming a YouTuber. So you want to avoid my mistakes. There is a pretty big list of things that I would have been grateful to have known back then, and this list starts now. Creative degrees are all about the people. You probably know this, and by the time you're starting your course, you have definitely been told by several mostly unsolicited voices that you absolutely do not need the degree that you're about to spend 3 years pursuing. And that is true, because music isn't like other fields. You can't become a doctor without doing study for that, but you can absolutely become a professional musician without a formal education in music. And on the other side, a formal education in music in no way guarantees a career in music. So, is all of this a waste of time? Well, really, it depends on how much you can take advantage of the few things that your course can do for you. And the way I consider it, there are 3 of these things. The first of which is to introduce you to so many people that you otherwise would never have met. Most likely, you will have never met such a diversity of people and backgrounds and interests and talents as the group that you're about to meet. And that's a wonderful thing. You'll meet the drill producers, the DJs, the jazz gang, the classical heads, the metal enjoyers, and everyone in between. And every single one of these people are going to be able to show you a viewpoint on music that, up to this point, you have never considered. Make the most of this, because you will be thrown into an endless pool of potential collaborators, of people who can teach you things or argue about things or just generally make you think about a concept in a different way. And the more that you can engage genuinely and curiously with as many different people as possible, the more well-rounded a musician you'll become, and the more perspective you'll have on the things you do, the way that you do them, and why you do those things in those ways. Now, there is also a sneaky secret advantage to this, which is that a good circle of people in a couple of months when it's assessment time is going to be absolute gold dust. Music departments across the entire planet work on this black market underbelly of favours for favours. You scratch my back, I'll caress yours. You record my violin recital, I'll play violin on your track. If you have a good circle of people that you can turn to when you need help, that's going to benefit you come assessment time. But just as much, if there's a group of people that are ready to turn on you for help, that's going to help your experience, that's going to help your portfolio. It's good news all round. But there is a very real risk with this. And the real risk is that you end up becoming a networky, slimy, corporate little worm, and no one is going to like that. People can smell worms from miles away, and almost certainly in the biology department, they are doing horrific experiments on worms as we speak. You do not want to become one. By which I mean, your connections with people need to be genuine and two-sided, and not all about who can do what for who when that's necessary. You've got to remember that music is fundamentally a communal and fun and quite personal activity, and so people need to want to work with you. And the thing that will make that happen won't be any amount of talent or skills or networking ability. It will just be the fact that someone can count on the fact that they will be able to enjoy a session with you. It's your ability to match a vibe, read a room, be fun to work with, and just generally be well hung. A good hang. Tip 2. Make the most of the facilities. My second big bit of advice relates to the second big thing that your course is able to do for you, which is to give you access to some very expensive things. Hopefully, your university has some top-end studios, a good mic collection, nice amps, outboard effects, synths, mixing desks. I'm going to personally set you a challenge, which is from the moment you gain access to these things, you are to rinse them for all that they are worth. Imagine that your tuition fee is just one enormous studio rental that you pay the lump sum for. Try all of the expensive things. Try all of the cheap things. Make recordings, do tests, do shootouts, try different techniques. Make a checklist of everything that your department owns that you're able to use, and try and check off every single bit of gear one by one. I didn't do this, and it is something that I really regret. I got to use plenty of the shiniest Neumann microphones. I played a mini Moog from the 70s. I recorded into a mixing console quite frequently. That was worth but there was still a lot of gear in those store cupboards that I was essentially paying for the whole time, and that I never used, and that's so dumb. I really regret that. Another secret advantage to this is that you're going to get taught very quickly in a very hard way that expensive gear does not equal good recordings. It is a very humbling experience when you take out tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment and you do a recording that sounds worse than this video, which is me just holding an SM57 to my face through a 2i2. Like, expensive gear does not make things better, and you are going to learn that firsthand and embarrassingly. And also, you cannot rely on your course curriculum to give you the time to teach you these things. You will be given recording and production tasks, but probably, if your course is anything like mine, far fewer than you were expecting. University is about directing yourself at the end of the day, and for you, this self-direction should be in the form of experimenting in the very expensive playground that you have just paid to get into. What I would often find at uni is that I would be taught a technique, but then only master the technique once I'd just finished my assessment and I'd been putting it into practice. So I would know nothing, I would start a bit of work, and then by the end of the task I would know so much more than when I started, but it was too late because I just finished the assessment. And I'd find that really frustrating because I thought, well, only now have I learned the skills that I needed to know, like 3 weeks ago, in order to do this assessment properly. You need to account for the fact that 90% of the learning you're going to do is on the job. So give yourself time to learn on the job in low stakes environment before it's assessment time and before it really starts mattering.
The third thing your course can do for you.
The third thing that your course can do for you is nothing, because the third thing is everything completely unrelated to your course. The whole wider experience of university itself. You're probably now on your own for the first time. You're cooking meals, you're doing laundry, making grown-up decisions about all of the substances being offered to you. All of this is as much, if not way more important than the course that you've actually picked. So don't treat your course as though it's the be-all, end-all reason that you're at university, because so much of the value of the reason that you're actually here is going to come in ambiently from the raw character development that the next few years are going to send you kicking and screaming through. I visibly aged during my first 6 weeks of university. It is a lot, and you will be tested, but that is so important, and so don't neglect all of these wider experiences because you're focusing so hard on your course. Do your course, obviously. Work hard, obviously. Don't be lazy and don't waste your money, but also don't pass up lots of opportunities that you're going to get to do non-music things, to go outside of your comfort zone, to make new memories with new people, and just generally to squeeze all of the life that you can possibly wring out of the next 3 or 4 years of your life.
Speed round.
You will compare yourself to people. Before university, you were probably one of the best people in your vicinity at music production. Get ready for that to change. Everyone around you will be better than you at least one specific thing. And you're going to have to learn to deal with that sooner or later, because it is so important that you at no point treat your course as a competition. A, that's going to make you miserable. And B, that's going to affect the relationships which it is so important for you to be forming. Learn to coil a cable. This is like an if you know gang sign of an engineer who knows what they're doing. And if you can coil a cable quickly and consistently and properly, you're going to gain a lot of very superficial but very genuinely impactful credibility among certain people. So grab a cable, practice it, and don't stop until you can get a good coil quickly every time. Get ready to feel stupider than you have ever felt in your education so far, by which I mean that fresh out of school, you probably know a lot about music, but in the next few years, you're going to come to know a lot more, and more importantly, you're going to come to learn what a huge amount you don't know, and what an even bigger amount you will never know. The field of music and the field of music production, these are huge and wide and deep and impossibly rich fields, and it is impossible for one person in a lifetime to master absolutely everything that these fields have to offer. So get ready for that, and get ready for the fact that that is humbling but also quite beautiful, and that we'll never fully understand this world, and I think that's a good thing to try anyway. Next tip, very soon you are going to have to start referencing. Use a good reference manager, something like BibGuru. It will save you so much time and so many headaches. Read lots of things, note down the citation for everything that you read, whether you think you'll need it or not, because at some point it will definitely come in handy. Referencing is going to feel like a chore for a bit. In fact, it's going to feel like a chore for 3 years, and it is a chore, but it also holds you accountable for everything you're saying, and in doing so, it does make your essays better. So get used to it as a kind of annoying, nagging hand over your shoulder that will make you produce better work.
Closing point.
Finally, remember that your time on this course, and indeed your time on this earth, are finite. And the sooner you can come to terms with that, the better. I'm not saying that to make you panic. In fact, I'm saying that for the exact opposite reason, which is that I want you to get all of that angst out of your system as best you can. I wasted so much time and energy throughout almost all of my university time just stressing myself out because time was running out. I'm already halfway through Freshers Week. I'm already 6 weeks into first term. It's already third term. I'm halfway through second year. Just panicking after panicking. And I was scared because I was enjoying my experience and I felt fulfilled and inspired, and I didn't want that to end, so I was stressing about the idea of it ending. If you find yourself in that position where you don't want university to end and you're scared of the prospect of it ending, that is a sign that you have made the right decision in what you've chosen to study. You have picked a subject that you love, you're surrounded by people that you enjoy spending time with, you're having a good time in general. And so time is gonna fly by if you're enjoying yourself. That's the whole point, and it's better than the alternative. But remember that your last day at university will not by any means be the last day that you feel accepted, or inspired, or fulfilled, or creative, or within your crowd, or absolutely hammered. All of these things carry on afterwards. Maybe in different forms, but they carry on. These whole 3 years are not your peak. They are just the beginning of what will be a long and fulfilling and fruitful life that will be either as free or as full of music as you decide that you want it to be. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up a YouTuber. Happy Halloween.